Weatherman, don't tell me lies. I know it's all a big surprise. It's a hocus pocus magic that you do.
Good morning, I'm Meteorologist David Knollhoff. Thank you for watching WEITV and our weekly weather broadcast. Well, certainly to say across the Texas area and the Texas Hill Country, it's the dog days of summer, and we're well into August, and high pressure's been dominating a good portion of Texas as well as parts of the Southwest and into the Midwest. So a lot of sunshine this past week. However, we did have a little bit of a weakness in the atmosphere a couple days. Yesterday was one of them. We had some showers and thunderstorms over the northern portion of the Texas Hill Country, but it didn't produce a whole lot for the majority of the area, and rainfall amounts were generally less than 1/2 inch. There was isolated rainfall of around 1 inch in the northern portion of the Hill Country, but it wasn't widespread. Not everybody saw any rainfall yesterday, especially the southern tier counties of the Texas Hill Country. Just hot and dry, the dog days of summer. That's to blame is the big high pressure center over Texas, and it hasn't been moving a whole lot, and it's not expected to move a whole lot. This past week, high temperatures were in the 90s and the 100s, and temperatures were in the 70s. If you remember, last week we talked about a hurricane that had developed over into the Atlantic and was going to push across into the Caribbean and then eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. That became Hurricane Ernesto. Well, Hurricane Ernesto never made any significant appearance into the Gulf of Mexico. It stayed primarily in Mexico as it trudged across the Yucatan Peninsula and then entered into the very southern part of the Gulf of Mexico and then re-entered into Mexico. And so, of course, we didn't see any effects of Ernesto, unfortunately. Now, all that being said, let's move into the weather pattern for this coming weekend into next week. The tropics are active. There's actually another depression way off into the Atlantic. It's depression number 7. And it's moving westward, northwestward, and could be entering into the Gulf of Mexico by the end of next week. But we're really not looking for any type of hurricane development to affect us this weekend into next week. High pressure is going to dominate. The same old story. The dog days of summer, lots of sunshine. Temperatures are going to be generally the same as what they were last week, 90s and 100s, lows in the 70s. Now, the only player really in the game for weather for next week is going to be towards the end of the week. The big high pressure system, it revolves, it modifies, it changes over time. And it's going to weaken towards the end of next week a little bit, enough to get some Gulf moisture and a weak disturbance coming off the Gulf of Mexico. But it doesn't look like it's going to produce a whole lot of rainfall for the Texas Hill Country. We'll keep an eye on it for you. There's always the possibility it could develop into something a little bit more organized. But in general, if we're going to get any rainfall, it's going to be today, just due to the heating and weakness. Isolated rainfall, and then towards the end of next week. So we're expecting a very hot and dry weekend coming up. Temperatures again reaching near the 100-degree mark. So if you're outside, drink lots of water, take quite a lot of breaks, and certainly take that sun lotion with you to keep you protected from the sun, because it's going to be still pretty brutal. Thanks for watching us. I'm Meteorologist David Knollhoff.
Look at clouds and watch them swirl, and then you take us for a whirl and try to tell us that you know the truth. I was watching last week's show. Your estimate was a little low, and I think you told me I would get some rain.